And hello everybody, my name is NikoTheLegend, also known as the well-mannered teenager, the snowflake, rambling idiot, and Vigil. And today we're talking about everything we know about the Callisto protocol. And to start things off, hello, my name is NikoTheLegend. If you like what you see today, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. So, the State of Play, the Sony State of Play just happened, and it had some interesting titles that were shown off. And for me, it was a bit of a 50-50 on enjoyment level of that Sony's press conference for the summer. And they got to show off a great looking game that I'm most excited about when I first learned about it last year. And that game is called the Callisto Protocol, which is created by Glenn Schofield. If you don't know who that is, just think Dead Space franchise. This guy was the head honcho behind it. This man is now doing his own thing at his own company, making another great survival sci-fi horror game, which it looks awesome. I'm excited for it. I would like to just go into full, just cheerleading mode for this game, and I really hope it does well, and so on and so forth. So in this episode, which we know Nico sometimes does everything we need to know about it, we're going to learn everything we need to know about it. About the release date, what the game's about, what's the whole point, the 101 pretty much, just to kind of get you prepared for the game releasing this year in December, which I kind of already ruined the first thing we need to know about. So, like I said, Callisto Protocol is a survival horror game that's coming out thanks to the head honcho Glenn Schofield and his team by Striking Distance Studios. Okay, the first thing we need to know about is the release date. Okay, so the Callisto Protocol is currently slated to launch on December 2nd, 2022. It's worth noting the company had a number of vacancies as of March 31st, 2022, which could mean development is behind schedule. We wouldn't be surprised if this one slipped into 2023, but for now, expect to play just in time for the holidays this year. Hey, I don't know about you, but I think playing a scary game Christmas time or Halloween or really any time is a good time to play a horror game. But yeah, get those horror spooks for the holiday season. It's great. So December 2nd, 2022. Now, the developer, never heard of these guys. Striking Distance Studios is a newly formed team created in 2019, led by Glenn Schofield, who is credited as the creator of Dead Space and the founder of Sledgehammer Games. Sledgehammer Games, Call of Duty. Boy. The studio is around 200 members strong, and given the experience of the team, we have high hopes for the Callisto Protocol. It will be published by Krafton, best known for its work on PlayerUnknown's Battleground. Now, with that said, this game was supposed to take place in the PUBG universe. But in recent interviews, thanks to Glenn Schofield, it doesn't anymore, just because I guess it just started to turn into its own entity, and it really didn't make sense for this to belong in the PUBG universe, which I don't see what anything PUBG related would have to do with. It's a battle royale game. I don't know the lore. You guys let me know down in the comments below. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, whatever. But yeah, no longer. Platforms. You'll be able to play the Callisto Protocol on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, and PC. That's a mouthful. When it launches in 2022, you can safely rule out a Nintendo Switch version of this game, which is unfortunate, though it's possible a cloud version could be in development similar to Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy or Hitman 3. If Nintendo launches its long-rumored Switch Pro in 2022 or 2023, the Callisto Protocol might be available for that platform, though we wouldn't count on it. Hey, you know what? Let's not even talk about Callisto Protocol on the Switch. Let's just get Dead Space on the Switch finally. Like, what's the holdup? Let's get some more BioWare games and just some more EA games in general. Like, I don't know, Dead Space, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, so on and so forth. Some more Star Wars games. The trailer. Okay, so the first trailer for the Callisto Protocol debuted at the Game Awards in 2020. Wow, that far long ago. Holy crap, I was wrong. Fact check. This is why you read your own stuff. This reveal trailer showed off some of the game's environments, creatures, and characters along with its art style and tone. It didn't give us a look at gameplay, sadly, but it did reveal the new developer Striking Distance Studios, along with its targeted release window of 2022. Hey, if they get to release it on the targeted window, that's pretty impressive. Let's just hope it doesn't suck in the end. In short, the trailer is absolutely horrifying, should be reminiscent of Dead Space to those who have played that series before. The alien creatures don't get much screen time during the trailer, but based on what was shown, they seem to be terrifying. Then, during the June 22nd State of Play event, Striking Distance finally revealed gameplay along with the release date. And it's great. You can see it happening in the background right now, but I wholly recommend it Recommend checking out the trailer yourself. It's fantastic and it gets you really excited. There are some big horror games coming out at the end of this year and early next year. You got Callisto Protocol, you got Resident Evil 4 remake, and you got the Dead Space remake. So these are things to look forward to. Those are the more high budgeted ones. So I will post a link about that below. It's an absolutely terrifying trailer that certainly makes the Callisto Protocol one of the most exciting upcoming games of 2022. And that's great. A horror game is making the rounds, from a company that gave from a guy who gave us the wonderful Dead Space series franchise, and now he's going to try to reinvent the wheel, or whatever you want to call it, to do it again. And it would be great just to go through this awesome survival horror game opportunities or experiences for us to enjoy just one after the other, because horror games are amazing. And another good thing is that horror games get cheap real quick, so you wouldn't have to wait too long to get your hands on it too. That's just the way the market goes. It's not a Call of Duty where they charge you $800 for loot crates. So the gameplay. Striking Distance has finally shown gameplay for the Callisto Protocol, but there's still a lot left to reveal. We do know it's inspired by Dead Space, meaning it'll be a third-person survival horror game. The developer's goal is to create the most terrifying game on next-gen platforms. So this game will likely lean away from action towards survival instead, which is always it's a great idea. I don't mind a healthy balance. Dead Space did a good job with that. I know some people would argue against me with Dead Space 3, but I really like Dead Space 3 as well. Even though it could be considered like maybe the Thing spiritual successor in that setting, we should expect to scrounge for supplies while being encouraged to run from enemies as opposed to mowing them down Rambo style. Based on the announcement trailer, it doesn't seem like the player will have much to fight back with, but this might evolve over the course of the game. Since you're playing as a prisoner, you'll likely have limited resources at the start of the game. In Dead Space, the main character was an engineer who used his plasma cutter as a weapon against the deadly necromorphs. In it, you were able to dismember enemies to slow them down. We're curious to see if the Callisto Protocol has a similar weapon or mechanic. Yeah, I think that's great, except Isaac was just like the ultimate engineer who knew how to do every single part of engineering, but it's a video game. I'll let it slide, Isaac. Maybe that's why he was so quiet in the first game. He didn't want to let everybody know how good he was. As part of a recent issue of Game Informer, it was revealed that the main character, Jacob Lee, will be able to interact with objects by pushing and pulling them. This could lead to some interesting gameplay segments, wherein Lee must block a path with a large object as he's being chased by an alien known as biophages? Biophages? That'd be a funny way to say it. Okay, I'm gonna go with biophages, but phonetic guys out there, let me know. Striking Distance told Game Informer, as relayed by IGN, that Lee will eventually be able to equip a baton, pistol, and shotgun. So he's becoming a police officer. So combat will be a larger part than what was initially shown. Design director Ben Walker told Game Informer, "We want you to be afraid of single enemies. All these tools we built up for Jacob are to deal with the difficulty as opposed to coming at it from the end of, hey, you can kill all these cool things, now let's make some enemies. We did in reverse for that very reason. You feel scared and you have to make the right calls at the right time." I like that, where you really have to pick and choose how you're going to face a certain situation. That kind of reminds me of the Condemned series, especially the first game. I like, breakable objects, melee items, and guns getting jammed and all that. That was cool. That way you had to conserve ammo and, just really think about how you're going to do this. Same thing with old school Resident Evil games like 1, 2, and 3 and Code Veronica. You had to really scrounge around and be really tactical and intelligent when it came to these tight corners or walkways and how to face this enemy and maybe when to avoid, which that's great. That is a very old school philosophy that I hope does well coming back. So in an interview with Games Radar, Striking Distance founder Glenn Schofield said, "Mystery is part of the importance of a game like this. What's around the next corner? What's behind that door?" I think it was a good mix of showing enough and then keeping some things like our mechanics and our characters and our story, a lot of stories, still hidden away so that we can tell a little bit more as the game develops, We've got to leave some stuff to the audience to figure out. Hey, but a lot of horror games don't really have that great of storylines, and it's never been a big issue. I don't know. Can someone down below, if you're watching this, list a game with a good horror story? I just want to know. If there are any out there, and it'd be great to hear it. I'm trying to think of some, but it's kind of tough. I mean, maybe Dead Space did the best, but I don't know. Who knows? There are some interesting theories about how death will work in this game. Toward the end of the trailer, we can see the prisoner get killed by a creature, but then it comes back to life, almost like a zombified version of an alien. It would be absolutely fascinating to respawn as a different prisoner who then has to defeat the infected alien version of the previous character. What is this? Resident Evil Outbreak or something? This hasn't been confirmed, but it's a captivating theory that could be implemented if the trailer is any indication. One thing Dead Space fans will likely be pleased to know is that your heads-up display HUD will be presented all from within the game as opposed to on the screen. In Dead Space, your health was depicted by a bar in the character's suit, while your ammo count showed up on a little screen on your weapons. There will be no on-screen HUD elements to break immersion, which is great news. That's awesome. Good. Glenn Schofield, don't fix what isn't broken. You can actually see this idea in action from within the trailer as the prisoner has what appears to be a health bar in the back of his neck. Oh, that's great. Aside from that, we hope there's some sort of upgrade system and meaningful sense of progression that keeps things moving forward. Of course, survival will probably be at the forefront, so you likely won't be a super soldier in the Callisto protocol, but we'll wait and see how things play out. Alright, so the main point of the game, you're escaping from the prison and just seeing the secrets that are within it, and so on and so forth. Ooh, conspiracies. What horror setting have we not seen? What conspiracy stuff have we not seen before? Alright, story and setting. So it takes place during the year 2320 in a prison called Black Iron. The titular Callisto is one of Jupiter's moons, serving as the setting for this adventure, which is great, kind of like Titan in Dead Space 2. Interestingly, this game was originally set in the same universe as PUBG, but in May 22nd, 2022, 22nd. Schofield confirmed this idea was scrapped. Evidently, the team felt restrained by tying the Callisto protocol to PUBG, so hopefully the game will take on a life of its own. Schofield said the Callisto protocol grew into its own world and that it takes place in its own world story universe. That's what happens when you write a story, folks. The story takes control of you. You are no longer in control after a certain amount of time. I would know. Based on what we know so far, it seems the Warden of Black Iron might be the cause of the alien outbreak, though it's unclear how this will unfold. It's possible the Warden will be the main antagonist or something else entirely. Just please don't... I really hope that it doesn't have the typical cliche of like what Capcom does with every single Resident Evil game at the end of Dead Space 1, where it's got to be a big dumb monster. Can we not get that? I mean, why is that always the thing? Why can't it just be something like real slick and sinister or something, like something clever? Like the fucking Capcom. Can you stop doing big dumb monsters with your freaking zombie games? It's obnoxious. Multiplayer. So it's a single-player survival horror game. Will not feature online multiplayer components, thank God. Considering Striking Distance wants to stay close to the mechanics of Dead Space, this isn't surprising. Yeah, we all saw how Dead Space 2 worked. Co-op in Dead Space 3 is amazing, though. The main goal of this game is to give players a scary single-player adventure, harkening back to the likes of Resident Evil and Dead Space while looking like a fresh, modern game. Okay, so DLC. While DLC isn't out of the question, there currently aren't any public plans for additional content. It's possible we'll get different weapon packs or maybe even additional story content post-launch, but at this point, it's too early to say. Dead Space receives different cosmetics and gear such as weapons and suits, though it's unclear if the Callisto protocol will work the same. For now, the game's developer is likely still working on finishing the base game before thinking about add-ons. Oh, thank God. Like, good. Don't make it a live service game. Get the game out first, see how it does, and then decide to make some DLC. That way, you make it a concrete story game. Concrete game, leaving nothing out. Everything else would just be post, right? Of like, okay, what can we do to add on to this? Not just, let's put it in the oven for 2 minutes and then take it out and it's still frozen. Come on. I mean, nicely baked. Pre-order. So since the release date has been officially confirmed for the Callisto protocol, it's now available to pre-order. There will be multiple versions, including a Day 1 edition and a digital deluxe edition across PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. It's unclear what will come in the deluxe editions, but pre-ordering on PlayStation gives players access to the Contraband Pack, which comes with extra in-game goodies to help you along your journey. Just don't tell the FBI that. In addition, a collector's edition will be made available to pre-order in the US and Canada at GameStop and EB Games. EB Games is still alive, by the way. It comes with a limited run steelbook case, comic book, and ultra premium collectible statue, but isn't available to pre-order just yet. Which, a steelbook for a horror game, that's just bread and butter right there for me with the disc and the steelbook. Anyway, folks, that is all we have to say about the Callisto protocol. Just know that Glenn Schofield is going to do his damnedest with this brand new company. Kudos to that guy to, taking what he learned from working under the Visceral Studios, RIP, and working under EA, the thumb of that crap hole place. So now they have their own company, and they still have a publisher, of course, but hopefully they give them the right creative freedom and get a solid horror experience down. I just want to be scared out of my mind. I want to find cool monsters. I want to have fun gameplay, so on and so forth. I just want to have a good time. We all know what a good horror. It's not hard to judge a good horror game from a bad one. It's pretty simple. So with that said, folks, what do you think about all the things I said about, well, pretty much everything that we know so far about Callisto Protocol? Are you excited for this game? Are you going to be buying it day one, or are you going to wait for a good sale on it? Because like I said before, horror games don't take long to go on sale. So let me know down in the comments below. Personally, I'm super excited. This comes a little bit after Pokemon's Scarlet and Violet release, so hopefully I get lucky and I can get both. I'm not too sure, but it's not the end of the world if I don't get Callisto Protocol day one, although I'd like to, because I love horror games, and yeah. Hopefully this brings back that classic feel of being scared out of your mind, and a good survival horror game that games nowadays are sorely lacking in the AAA department. Am I right? Am I right, folks? Resident Evil Village, anyone? Yeah, no, you don't like that disc? That's okay. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I've been your host, NikoTheLegend, also known as the One-Man Teenager, the Snowflake, Rambling Idiot, and Vigil. I hope you did enjoy Pathfinders. And yeah, stay tuned for, I don't know, more things Callisto Protocol. I just want to die.